The Stardew Valley 1.6 update has reignited the Stardew obsession in a lot of us, and if you are jumping back into the game and trying to get a fresh start, a fresh experience, why not also find a fresh spouse? If you want to marry somebody new and you don't know quite who to choose, let me help you. We're going to rank all 6 bachelorettes on 3 separate criteria to determine once and for all who is the best Stardew Valley bachelorette. I know we all have our favorites, so you're probably gonna fight for your fave, but this will objectively tell us which one is the best. Each bachelorette will be judged on 4 specific criteria. First of all, their personality, what gifts they give once they married you, how they decorate their extra room in your house, and lastly, could they beat me in a fist fight? Because yes, it's important. Actually, before we jump right in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out. First up, we have Haley. People either love her or they hate her. She's a little bit snobby, she's a little bit rude, and people make excuses for her because her parents were not very active in her life, and so they think that that excuses her bad behavior, but no, it just explains it. It does not excuse it. She does have some character development, but in my opinion, not enough, and so that's why her ranking for personality is 4 out of 10. Once you marry Haley, she will give you some basic food items as gifts. They're not bad, but they're also not great, and so for her marriage gifts, I gave her a ranking of 6 out of 10. Her extra room is tropical themed, which makes sense, she loves coconuts. It's very Haley, however, I find it a little bit boring, and it's not nearly as interesting as some of the other bachelorettes, and so her grade for this is a 5 out of 10. And finally, could they beat me in a fist fight? I gave Miss Haley a 0 on 10 for this. I do not think that she would beat anybody in a fight. I think she would go straight for the hair pulling and not do much else. And that's just not cool. Out of a potential 40 points, Haley scores 15. And we'll see where this lands in the ranking. But 15 out of 40 for Haley. Bachelorette number 2, Leah. Apparently I pronounced her name wrong. Maybe it's Leah. I'm gonna probably alternate between both in this video. So Leah is an artist. She lacks the confidence to really get going, but otherwise she's independent, she's self-sufficient, she lives by herself, and she's very friendly. For her personality, I gave her an 8 out of 10. She's just lovely and sweet all around. I really don't see how you could have an issue with her. Once you marry her, she gives you pretty basic gifts as well, but they're more vibey. She might give you mushrooms, which is always fun, and mostly she'll give you forageables. Not great, but not awful, so I also gave Leah a 6 out of 10 for her gifts. The extra room that she has in your house turns into an art studio. It's beautifully decorated with plants and paints and canvases. I really love it, and I think that it is so her and it's so unique, so I give her a 7 out of 10 for her extra room. Finally, could they beat me in a fight? Well, it would be a tie. So I give her a 6 out of 10 for this one. I think that Leah could hold her own. I think that she could fight, but she doesn't like fights. We learned that in a cutscene, which is not a bad thing, but it would end in a tie, so she gets a 6 out of 10. Out of a possible 40 points, Leah scored 27. So far she's in the lead, but we'll see where she stacks up at the end. Next bachelorette is Maru. She's very intelligent, she's hardworking, she works part-time at the clinic, and otherwise, you can find her working on science and her little gadgets at her house with her dad. I don't dislike Maru, but she sometimes feels a little bit one-dimensional. She's sweet, don't get me wrong, but overall, I gave her personality a 6 out of 10. Once you marry Maru though, her gifts are pretty good. She can give you warp totems, she can give you bombs, all sorts of cool stuff, and so overall for her gifts, I think she gets an 8 out of 10. When she moves into your house, her extra room is super nerdy, but also has like a little bit of a stargazing theme. There's a PC there, a telescope, you could see her little robots. It's super cute. It definitely showcases her interests, and I do like the vibe, and so she gets an 8 out of 10 again for her room. And finally, could they beat me in a fist fight? I gave Maru a 1 out of 10 for this. I think she would trip over her feet before she even tried to throw the first punch. She could not beat me in a fist fight. Try me. Out of a potential 40 points total, Maru scores 23. Next up is Emily. Emily is creative, she's quirky, she works hard, you can find her at the saloon every night, and she maintains like this beautiful positive outlook all the time, despite having kind of a mean sister. Emily is somebody who is so herself through and through that even if you're not a fan of like the quirky personality, you have to respect that she is so deeply herself in every situation. So for her personality, I gave her a 10 out of 10, honestly, no notes. Once you marry her, her gifts are mostly related to clothes, but she could sometimes gift Omni Geos, which is really cool, and so her score for gifts is a 7 out of 10. Her room when she moves in is all clothing and sewing related, and while that sounds like it would be really cute, it's actually kind of basic, which is really disappointing for somebody as cool as Emily. So despite it having so much potential, I had to give her a 4 out of 10 for her room. And finally, could they beat me in a fight? Well, Miss Emily could, because why? She's a little kooky. She's got nothing to lose. She could summon her little spirits. She'll get me. I gave her a 9 out of 10. I don't think that she would enjoy fighting. I think she's a very peaceful person. But if she had to throw down, oh, she could. She gets a 9 out of 10. Her final score out of 40 points is 30. Next up is Penny. Penny has had quite the difficult life. She lives in a trailer with her alcoholic mom, but despite all the adversity, she's never let it harden her, and she's never made it other people's problems. Like Shane, she just keeps to herself and tries to leave the world a better place than she found it. I think that she should get a perfect score, except that she's a little bit too reserved for my taste, so therefore I gave her a 9 out of 10. Once you marry Penny, she gives you some pretty good gifts. She'll give you some really good food, she can give you geodes, and she can give you mixed seeds. Honestly, she gets a 10 out of 10 for her gifts. Her extra room, to nobody's surprise, is a cozy, cute library. It's exactly what I want out of a spare room. It is so cute, it is so vibey, it's so warm and inviting and calming. She gets a 10 out of 10 for her extra room. And finally, could they beat me in a fight? Miss Penny can throw down. You might not believe it, but you do not grow up in a trailer with Pam as a mom and not know a thing or two about fighting. I give her a 7 out of 10. I think she could definitely beat me in a fist fight. So her final score out of 40 points is 36. And finally, the last bachelorette, Abigail. Abigail's a bit of a gamer girl. I don't really know how else to describe her. She's goth mommy. I mean, I love the purple hair. Honestly, nothing about her personality wows me though, but she's overall just a cool person, so I gave her a 7 out of 10. Once you marry her, she mostly gives you monster loot and some pretty good food. The monster loot could be useful if you don't want to have to grind for it, but it's also nothing groundbreaking, so she gets a 6 out of 10 for her wedding gifts. Once she moves in, her spare room is super nerdy. She has her gaming console, she has what looks to be a hamster cage, a drum set, a big sword in the back. It's really cool, but it's kind of eclectic. It feels almost mismatched. So it's not bad, but it's also not great. I'm giving her a 6 out of 10. And lastly, could she beat me in a fight? I think Abigail could. I had to give my girl an 8 out of 10. You don't play that many video games and not learn a thing or two, okay? I think she'd beat me in a fight, but also I would kind of let her. I'd be like, oh no, Abigail, don't stomp on me. Oh. So that brings her total score to 27 out of 40. Let's look at the leaderboard. So starting off in last place, it's Haley, of course, with 15 points. Fifth place is Maru with 23. Then we have a tie, Abigail and Leah, 27 points apiece. Emily took second place with 30 points, which means, of course, in first place is Miss Penny with 36 out of 40 points. What do you guys think of this leaderboard? Are you happy about it? Are you mad? Let's fight in the comments. What do you think? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys next Saturday in a new video. Otherwise, I stream Monday through Thursday every week here on YouTube and also on Twitch at the same time. Bye!